Hey, Facebook. Okay, so I'm testing going live on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. So let me go live on Instagram and let's see how this works. Okay, hey, Instagram. So I'm testing going live on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. So last week I went live on Instagram 2 or 3 times. I've gone live on Facebook many times before, but I wanted to see what it's like to do both at the same time because, of course, even though Facebook owns Instagram, hey, you guys, it's not easy. You can't just literally click a button and be going live on both. Wouldn't that be simple if we could just, kind of like with stories, you can share your Instagram stories over to Facebook. It would be so much better if you could just click a button and go live on both. But instead, you have to have all of these gadgets. So if you could see what I'm using right now, I have my HD camera on my laptop for my Facebook Live. And then I have this cool little bendy contraption that holds my phone wireless on my phone for Instagram Live. And I'm just testing what it's like to go live on both at the same time. So hey there, there's my mama. So last week we were at the beach and you saw me doing Facebook Lives there, and it's been a goal of mine to get really consistent about doing both Facebook Live and Instagram Live at the same time. And not just when we're doing something fun like we were at the beach last week, but actually coming on and teaching you guys the things that I teach to my community and my Design You membership, giving you a little taste of that, talking to you about what is important to me right now. And so one of the things that I was working on today, hey, Robin, I see Robin over on Facebook. This is so fun, by the way, to have. I see Danielle over there. So I see Design You members on my Instagram Live. I see Design You members on my Facebook Live. And this is really cool and weird to be testing both at the same time, but it helps me figure out kind of all the details where I want to look, where the camera needs to go. But what I was saying is one of the things we were working on a call earlier today in Design You is showing up for yourself and keeping your word to yourself. And so how many of you are constantly starting over, starting again? This week, I'm for sure really going to do everything I said I'm going to do. I'm for sure going to follow through and really eat clean or really drink all my water, or I'm for sure going to, go live on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm for sure going to make that sales call and close a sale for some part of my business, or I'm for sure going to learn something new about how to take my business online, or finish reading that book I said I was going to read that I know will make all the difference in my business, right? There's that whole long laundry list every single week of the stuff we say we're going to do. And then there's reality of what we actually do. And so I wanted to talk about this today because I was just talking to somebody in my membership about this, and we were talking about how it's so easy to not do what you say you're going to do because of all of the legitimate excuses that you tell yourself for why making a change is a better idea, right? So you're like, oh, I'm not going to take any client work on the weekend ever again. But then a client comes and says, I really need to meet with you on a weekend. And you somehow justify and tell yourself, yeah, if I do, it'll actually make my life easier. I can go ahead and get it over with and things will be better. This was the situation we were talking about. But the interesting thing is that sounds true and it sounds legit, but you're shooting yourself in the foot for keeping your word to yourself about what you said you were going to do in your life, right? So you start to make little shifts in not following through with what you said you wanted to do. And all of a sudden, you're right back into some really old bad habits that you said you were going to change, right? Because it's once you make an exception and you're like, oh, just this one time, I'll go ahead and work on a weekend when I said I wasn't going to. But what's going to happen the next time? You're going to have the same number or more of legitimate excuses of why it's just easier to not tell someone no. It's just easier to go ahead and get it over with, right? And before you know it, 2 or 3 months down the road, you're working every weekend again, or you're working at night again, and you didn't show up and follow through with what you said you were going to do. And it makes a huge difference. So one of the things I work on with my members in Design U, and it's one of the things I've been really working on for myself, is that no matter what, no exceptions, I'm learning to do what I said I was going to do. And today is a perfect example because it's a rainy day. I'm tired. I've been on a photo shoot, like working 14-hour days for a week. The week before that was super busy getting ready to go. I've been in meetings all day. I'm supposed to go work out in a little bit, and I got to go pick up my daughter from school. And there were a million reasons that all seemed so legitimate for me not to go live on Facebook and Instagram right now. But it was on my schedule to do both, to do it at the same time, to figure it out. Someone says, you've been listening to my podcast for about a month and your mindset is already shifting. Yes. Yeah. And I'm going to be talking to you guys here a lot too. So you can start tuning in here because it's not just the podcast, but I love that your mindset's already shifting because this is what I'm talking about. We can totally justify showing up in ways that don't serve us all the time, right? But the reason we know that it's not serving us is because we look at the results we're creating in our life and they're not the results we want. And one of the main things and places where we do that is finding legitimate excuses to not show up the way we said we were going to. So again, I had a whole list of things that were perfectly acceptable about why I didn't have to go live on Facebook and Instagram today. But had I not done that, then next week when I'm supposed to go live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, not only would I be telling myself a story of, well, you didn't figure it out and you don't really know how it works and today you're busy too and this other thing popped up and guess what? All of a sudden you're consistently just participating or behaving in the same old way that's created the results you have in your life right now. So one of the things, and I'm going to teach this really quickly because I am going to go get my kid from school in a minute, but I'm going to show you, and you can for sure see it if you're on Facebook. It's a little bit harder on Instagram, but I think you can pretty much see it. I want to show you something. And it's the technique I teach that I learned at Life Coach School. And it's really important for you to realize what you're doing to yourself. So circumstances are things that are happening in our life all the time, right? Not our thoughts, which a lot of you think your thoughts are circumstances. Circumstances are the actual things that everybody in the world would agree were the truth, okay? And I'll teach you the difference in a second. But a circumstance could be it's raining outside. Like we could all agree that it's actually raining. There's water falling from the sky. It's cold may not be a circumstance, right? That could be dependent on the person that's thinking the thought. A little bit harder to prove, but the point being that circumstances happen to us all the time in life. So our client said something as a circumstance, or I don't know, there's tons of them. But what most of us think are circumstances are really our thoughts. And so it's really important to realize that in this thought model, a circumstance is any event in your life, but what really matters most of the time is our thoughts about them, okay? So a thought is just a sentence in your brain about a circumstance. And our thoughts create our feelings, okay? So feelings are just a vibration in your body. That's it. We think they're a lot more powerful than that, but they're not. So a vibration in your body. And then actions or inactions are the things you do once you feel a feeling, right? So it's everything from like procrastinate or like I'm taking action here. Like I went live on Facebook. That's an action. So these are the actions or inactions like procrastinate that come from feelings. And then those actions create a result, like an outcome, okay? And it's really important to see that the outcomes that we're creating in our life are coming from our thoughts, sentences in our brain. We think they're coming from the circumstance, right? So I could easily say, it's raining today, and the outcome could be I didn't go live on Facebook. But the rain did not make me not go live on Facebook if I had chosen not to show up for myself today, right? My thought about it would have. I'm tired. It's rainy and cold. I don't feel like it. All of those are thoughts. I don't feel like go. So circumstance is block on my calendar says go live on Facebook. It's right there. We can all see it. I had typed it in last week. It is a circumstance that it's in my calendar. It's the truth. My thought could be, I don't feel like it because I'm tired and it's raining. My feeling could have been, I don't know, apathetic. My action or inaction could have been, don't go live on Facebook. Watch Netflix instead. And the result or outcome I would have created would have been that I wasn't talking to any of you guys today. So no results, no connecting with potential clients. You're like, whatever the result is that I was creating. And I want you to see that it's really important for us to start to notice if we're not creating a result, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of clients, a certain weight loss or body, all of those things are results that we're constantly creating with our thinking. And so I thought this was a great thing to talk about today and just start to introduce some of you who don't know the thought model to the model and how it works, because so often we're not showing up for ourselves, and there's legit reasons, right? A whole bunch of our thoughts are legitimate. I'm tired because I worked 7 14-hour days is totally a legit reason for me to not go live on Facebook, but it's still an excuse. And it's still not the truth that it's not possible to go live on Facebook when I'm tired, because I absolutely can, because I'm doing it right now. So I want you to just start to check in on your life and see where you're not showing up for yourself. Because whatever result you're creating in your life right now, whether that's what's in your bank account, what your body looks like, your mental health or well-being, what's happening in your relationships, every single one of those results are coming from the thoughts you're thinking about the particular circumstance. Okay, so I want you to start to understand that you are completely in charge on how your life, what results you're creating in your life, how much money you have, how many clients you have, what kind of relationships you have, and you're creating it all with the sentences in your brain every single day. And so I just wanted to show you that I had a bunch of sentences in my brain today that were telling me not to show up live here, not to teach something, not to connect with all of you that are watching. And that would have been so easy to do. And I had a laundry list of legitimate excuses of why that made so much sense. But I decided to show up anyway and move through the resistance of those thoughts I was thinking so that I could be a person who keeps my word to myself. And when we can learn to do this, it's probably the single most important thing we can do in life is to show up for ourselves and do what we say we will do. It teaches us to trust ourselves. It teaches us to learn what it takes to create the results we want in our life. And once you can learn it, you can replicate it over and over again in every part of your life. And it doesn't mean that you won't have resistance in the future. You're always going to not want to do what you're supposed to be doing. It's just our human brain does that to us, which is really annoying. But the point being, if you can learn to show up anyway, if you can learn to do what you said you would do anyway, that is when you get the absolute amazing successful results on your R line down here that you want in your life. Okay, so that's my mini lesson. Thanks for letting me be an example using you to show up for myself when I totally didn't want to today, when I really had no intention of showing up today. I did it anyway. I'm so proud of myself. You will absolutely be proud of yourself if you start showing up in this way too. Okay. And if you want to know more about this or any of the stuff that I'm going to be teaching about a lot more here on Instagram and Facebook Live, send me a direct message, because this is exactly the work that I do with my students and on my podcast and in all the other areas where we have both free and paid programs. And I can't wait to talk to you about all of this more. Somebody says, oh, Pickwick House says, I love that it teaches me to trust myself. Yeah, and that's so, so important because so many of you I see not creating the life you want are not even committing to things because you don't believe you'll show up and do what you said, right? Because you've let yourself down so many times. You look at your schedule every week and you're going to start again and you're going to be true to it and you're really going to do it this time. And then the minute it feels hard or uncomfortable, you come up with a laundry list of excuses of why you shouldn't do it today and why you don't feel like it. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to teach you more about topics just like these right here. So I'll see you back here every Monday, actually, at 2:30 Central Time. So get used to finding me here on Instagram and Facebook Live. We're going to do these regularly. But I just want to tell you, I'm grateful to all of you because you guys, and you didn't even know it, but you were holding me accountable to show up because I had written in my schedule today that I would show up and teach you something today. And knowing that you would be there and that you'd be listening and that you would respond to me is exactly what made me push through my own resistance and show up and do it anyway. So a huge hug to all of you. And just because I'm so grateful for you, I'm going to be back here every week teaching you some more stuff. You're welcome, Pickwick House. See you next time. Bye, y'all.